Alrighty, we're going to fix some outlets that are sunk back in the wall because they put sheetrock up. We're going to use metal box extenders. Here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, red and blue are also live colors. Now go on the brass screw of the outlet, which is the narrow slot, and the white, which is neutral, will go on the silver colored screw, which would be the wider slot. And the round will go on the green screw, and that would either be bare or green. So we will start replacing some of these outlets, and I'll show you how to use these extenders when the box is recessed back in the wall a ways because they put sheetrock up over the previous wall. So this is the box extender. If you look closely, it's made here in the country I was born in. That's nice to see. Eaton wiring devices are even made here in the country I was born in. And you can see it on the bottom of the box. Alrighty, oh, this is 12 on a 20 amp, so we will just double check, make sure it's off. No power on the black, no power on the white. Alrighty, so we can unhook this. This is a cheaper outlet. It has the stab in the back. And it has the screws, of course. So we'll open our loops, make our loops a little bit better here. See the amount of sheetrock here from the box out. There's about 3/4 of an inch there, so we have to use this extender. And the extender does come with longer screws, longer than your regular outlet. And if they're still too short, you can buy the 632 screws at the hardware. So we'll stick this in here. Alright, so here's that brass screw, goes to the narrower slot, so we'll close the screw here. And we'll close this screw. Alright, I'm just going to see if this screw is going to be long enough, and it is going to be long enough, so we don't have to bother using the longer screws, and I will save them, I won't throw them away. So first, this is the bare ground wire. We will put it under the green screw. By the way, here in the country I was born in, our outlets are 120 volts. Make sure it's tight. We'll get our white wire under the silver screw. This is our neutral wire. Alright, so we'll take our pliers, we'll close that loop the direction that the screw turns. Okay, I'm going to pull back on it, make sure that we get our wire under the, hugging the inside of the screw. So it's like that there. Okay, we'll flip it around. Now we're going to keep this ground wire down away from everything. And we'll put our black wire up on the brass screw. The insulation is coming back a ways, so I'm going to bring this back a little bit. I'll make my loop just a little bit bigger like that. Close it like that. Make sure it's tight like that. That's what we want. Now we can push this back into our box. How are you making out upstairs?
Go on.
Good. Make sure it's nice and snug. Make sure it's nice and snug. Alrighty, so if you look closely there, see the metal seam here on this? Now that's in close to the terminal, so you gotta make sure that's out. And bring that in just a little bit so they're nice and straight. So you got nice clearance here between the terminals. Okay, I'm just going to make sure our power is off. Alright, well this one has a little tabby on the side here. This is a shared neutral split circuit. It's a multi-branch circuit. So I did shut off 2 circuit breakers. So there's going to be 240 between the red and the black. Alright, so I will open our loops up. There's some paint there, so I'll scrape that off. Our loop. This one's a little bit big, so I'll clip a little bit of that off. And we'll open this one up some. Okay, we'll get our new outlet out, and since this is a multi-wire branch circuit, see this little tab here? We have to put our pliers on there like that, and we will bend our device back and forth. Hold the pliers tight, bend it back and forth, and there's the little tab. So it separates the 2 circuits here. So first we will hook our Ground wire on the green screw. Okay, there's our ground wire on the green screw. We're going to close the one screw we're not going to be using here. Okay, I want to make sure we don't get the insulation pinched under that screw head there, so I'm going to hold the wire back like that with my fingers. Make sure it's tight and our insulation's not pinched under the screw head, so it looks like that there. Alright, we'll flip this around. We're going to fold our ground wire so it stays down in the bottom here. Now it doesn't matter which side I put the red and the black on. So I'll put the black down here on the bottom, close the loop the direction that our screw turns. Make sure it's tight. Always close the loop the direction that the screw turns. Okay, we have a nice solid connection there. That's what we want. Okay, so we're going to make sure our ground wire stays down the bottom. Okay, so staying down away from everything. We're going to use our extension. Has the seam here again, so we want to make sure that we close that seam up so that we don't touch the side of the terminals with it. Now this one's not back too terribly far, so we can use the screws that came with the outlet. Screw it in so it's nice and snug. Okay, so we'll adjust our sides here. We'll just push that in a little bit and see how that's close to the terminals. We're going to bend that out a little bit so we have clearance on the terminals on both sides. And that's one reason I like to close the screws that we're not using. You can see how this outlet's burned on the top. Somebody had plugged in a heater probably and drew quite a bit of amperage on it. Now this one's only recessed about 1/4 of an inch, so we don't have to put an extender in this box. And since this is a multi-wire branch circuit, I'm going to make sure both circuits are off. I have 2 circuit breakers off. Okay, so we're going to break the little tab off on the side of the outlet. See the little link there? So we're going to separate those 2 circuits by just rocking it back and forth, and there's the little tab. You'll see it has one on the neutral side too, so you do that when you have a neutral for each circuit, but this case it's sharing the neutral. And when you're sharing the neutral, you have to have both legs of the 240 on opposite legs of the 240 so you don't overload that neutral. So if they're going to be on the same leg, that's when you'll have maybe 2 14-2s or 2 12-2s coming to the outlet, and each circuit will have its own neutral. You do it that way if you're putting them on the same leg of the 240. But since this is on the opposite leg of the 240, the red and the black, you can share the white wire. Close the loop. Make sure it's tight. We'll close the one we're not going to be using. Okay, we'll flip it around. We'll get our 2 hot wires hooked up. Doesn't matter which one you put on the top or the bottom. See that bare wire a little bit behind the screw there, so I'm going to open this loop up and make it a little bit bigger so that we bring the insulation up closer to the screw head. But you don't want to get under the screw head, but you don't want the copper behind the blue on the outlet. So we'll close our loop. Make sure it's tight. Okay, next we'll get our black wire. Make sure it's tight, and that's what we want right there. Okay, we're going to make sure our ground wire stays down away from everything here. And we can screw this into the box. Blaster ears are sufficient to tighten this up to, because the sheetrockers did a good job cutting around the boxes. Nice and tight, tight. This outlet is all Bakelite. It's a cheaper make. The newer ones have they have nylon in the Bakelite and the plastic, so it's more durable, and it's welded together all the way around, so it's more solid. All right, wow, look at this. The back of that outlet is all broken right out. You need a bench? And there's the broken piece from that outlet. What judge would you like to have on the bench?
Talking to me?
Yeah, get the joke? Bench and bench? Make sure it's tight. Okay, now we'll hold this, our ground wire is going down this way. Put our ground wire around the green screw. Close the loop the direction that our screw turns. Make sure it's tight. Now we're going to have our ground wire staying across the bottom like that. I'm going to redo this loop here. Okay, there's our connection like we want it. Okay, so we're going to keep our wires going up and down like an accordion here. We're going to keep that ground wire down on the bottom. Alright, this outlet's just worn out, so we're going to just make sure it's off. It's on. She's on the... I can feel how that one was coming apart on the back there. When I loosen that screw, I can see how that little rivet in the back isn't holding very good. So this outlet was getting ready to start coming apart. Okay, so we'll close the screws we're not going to be using here. Okay, we'll close our loop the direction that the screw turns. Make sure it's tight. We'll get our white wire on the silver colored screw here. It's a little long, so I will bring it out. Open the loop up a little bit. I'll clip a little off. Always put your wire around the screw the direction that the screw turns. Make sure it's tight and we don't get the insulation under the screw head. Flip it around. We'll keep our ground wire down across the bottom here. Keep it down. Alrighty, there they are. So we'll make sure this ground wire is going to stay down away from everything. And we'll screw this in. Alrighty, so thanks for watching. That is how outlets are wired here in the country I was born in. For single circuit outlets and double circuit outlets. Peace. Thanks for watching.